Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, July the 6th. Stakes action at Delaware Park, kicking off a big week at Delaware. On Saturday, of course, there's the prestigious Delaware Handicap. I believe there are 3 other stakes races on the Quality Saturday card, but first things first, the Peach Blossom Stakes for fillies and mares going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. This race for Delaware registered and or certified. Let's take a look at this field, and please scan the QR code on the entry card for race of the day access on your mobile device. Curious to see where our friends at Timeform US have the pace protagonists in here. I can certainly see a horse like Double Fireball, who has shown speed in the past and probably just couldn't get close to the pace last time out in that Dahlia Stakes at Laurel because she had a tough outside post position and they were going to the inside of her. She was just out sprinted and out posted that day. This time she has a better inside post and she'll show speed. And the number 9 Murph, who went way too fast for her own good in the Hilltop for 3-year-old fillies at Pimlico last time out. Blinkers are coming off. Maybe she'll relax a little bit more this time. She should be close to the pace as well. I agree with Timeform US. I don't think it should be a blue bar or a red bar. I think the pace should be fast for all. The number 1 Cashing Big Checks could show speed. She is stretching out around 2 turns for her second start off of a lengthy layoff. She's lightly raced. She has a lot of upside potential, and she goes out for a high percentage trainer in Jamie Ness. She's also already a stakes winner. She beat Delaware certified in her second lifetime start on dirt in the Blue Hen Stakes last year as a 2-year-old. Now she's going to face older horses for the first time. She's going to have to stretch back out around 2 turns, and she's going to try turf for the first time. And the latter might be the biggest obstacle for Cashing Big Checks to overcome because her sire, Mr. Big, only gets 5% winners with first-time turf runners. The dam was unraced on the turf, and this is not really a big turf family on the female side of the pedigree. So Cashing Big Checks has a lot of potential. She's yet to really run that fast race on dirt, and I'm not sure she has enough pedigree that makes me think we're going to see huge improvement on the turf. But if you're going to try turf, I think this might be the spot to do it. The 2 is Texas Reward, who's only raced once previously on turf. It's a race I'm going to show you right now. She raced 2 starts back, going 1.70 miles at Delaware, and she was a lot closer to the pace than usual in here. She stalked on the outside. She's going to get up for 3rd in the final strides, and the horse she finished directly ahead of the 4th place runner came back to win her very next 2 starts with Beyer speed figures of 83 and 84. So that second level allowance that we just saw from Texas Reward looks like a solid race. They ran her in an off-turf race last time out. She just didn't fire. I wonder if at this point in her career, turf is what she wants to do. It appears she has the tactical speed to work out her trip, any kind of trip. The Beyer 2 starts back, 76, very respectable. I think Aubrey Green will have her in a pretty good spot, and she's a good price on the morning line at 8-1. Sprite's Lady is the number 3. I'm going to give Sprite's Lady a little bit of a mulligan for her last start. They cut her all the way back to 5/8 of a mile at Penn National. I just think that distance is way too sharp for her. Add in the fact she didn't break very well and her day was over early. She finished evenly. The Beyer, very light, a 53. The class level, very light, a $6,250 claimer. I think she's going to really appreciate stretching back out to 2 turns in this race. The question is whether she's fast enough to compete with these restricted stakes horses. Number 4 is coming up next, and that's Quiet Imagination. And Quiet Imagination certainly fits in this race. She comes out of the All Brandy, a restricted race at Laurel Park last time out, and she didn't have the greatest trip in there. She kind of pinched back in the early part of that race, tried to get into it with a wide run, and was likely just overmatched at 19-1 on the tote. But another one of the also-rans, the horse that finished right behind Quiet Imagination, did come back to run second in an allowance race with a 79 Beyer speed figure. So that All Brandy looks like a good spot. This is a mare that's kept good company throughout her career, whether it be on dirt or turf, and while she is still a turf maiden after 5 starts, her race 2 back on the grass at Pimlico was okay. My main concern is she hasn't won in almost 2 years, and there are lots of second place finishes on her record. She likes to come from off the pace, which means she's usually at the mercy of racing luck and pace luck. Maybe a horse you might want to consider underneath, especially at 9-2, which is a little bit light for me on the morning line. Double Fireball, the 5, should be close to the pace, as we mentioned in our pace projector segment. She's a little grouchy before she gets into the gate and the preliminaries and the warm-up. Sometimes the jockeys have to jump off and she goes in the gate by herself. But when she does feel like running, she has speed and she has races on the turf that make her very competitive. In the Dahlia last time out, as I mentioned in the open, Tough outside post, they went fast early, and she was likely overmatched anyway. The runner-up in that race came back to place in a graded race. In a Hurry would finish third in the Grade 3 Galleret with an 84 Beyer speed figure. Class relief for Double Fireball. Might have an easier time of it, getting closer to the pace without exerting as much energy. She should be in the thick of things turning into the stretch. The only knocks the morning line odds. 5-2 is a little bit light for me with Double Fireball, but she's certainly a contender in this race. Isabella is the 6th horse. Isabella, second sort of a short layoff because she wintered at Oaklawn Park. Now, she went gate to wire at Parks going 7.5 furlongs last summer, so she's very comfortable at this distance. My major concern is then in her subsequent turf start, the last time she raced on grass, she ran in a stakes race for Delaware, registered and or certified, and she just didn't fire that day, and I couldn't find an excuse. She was in a good spot tracking the pace, she made a 3-wide bid on the turn, and she tired very badly along the inside, and it makes me wonder if this class of horse is a bit too much for Isabella, whose Beyer speed figures recently on the dirt are a little bit light. Mosala is a horse I've always been a fan of, and she's still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life, which concerns me. But she did win her maiden at Delaware, going 1 mile and a 16th, and her race 2 starts back where she finished behind Texas Reward. She tried to get into the race with a mid-race move on the backstretch before flattening out and finishing 5th. Another horse just draw a line through her last race. I don't think she likes dirt at all. She's getting back to her preferred turf surface. She was second in this race last year, and she's a horse with a little bit more tactical speed than you might think. So maybe she can get into the mix early and find a spot in the second flight. 10-1 on the morning line is a fair price for Mosala, but again, lots of second and thirds on her record. Malibu Beauty is entered main track only. She would be very tough if weather forces this race to the main track. We will move on to the number 9, Murph, going out for Brittany Russell. This is another one, a stakes winner on the dirt. She won the Small Wonder last year at Delaware, going 5.5 furlongs. She's run twice on the turf. Her turf debut came 2 starts back at Laurel Park, and she prompted the pace on the outside. She made the front very early in that race on the far turn, and she understandably tired. She got very tired in that mile race. Last time out at Pimlico, she was just a runaway in the early portion of that hilltop for 3-year-old fillies. She was against Breeders' Cup winner Pizza Bianca, so she was overmatched. She went too fast early. A lot of things didn't go her way. She's likely more of the 73 Beyer horse from 2 starts back than the 67 from last time. She's going to be close to the pace. I am a bit concerned that she might want to go even slightly shorter than 7.5 furlongs, but you've got Brittany Russell, Toledo. This is a very strong trainer-jockey combination. 7-2 on the line for Murph, stepping up to face older horses once again. Before we get to my top selection in this race, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video offerings. Top pick time for the Peach Blossom, Wednesday's race of the day. I'm going to go for a price in here. I do think Murph is going to run well. I do think Double Fireball is going to run well. I think they're going to get easier pace scenarios than they did last time when they were chasing or setting very fast paces. But I wonder if Texas Reward can pull off a slight upset. The figure she earned 2 starts back was very, very respectable. She finished ahead of a horse that flattered the race by winning her next 2 starts with Beyers even higher than that. And I think maybe she's still unexposed on the turf with only 1 prior start. That race a good effort at Delaware. I like her at 7.5, and I like her tactical speed. 8-1 on the line. That's a fair price for me. I'm going 2-9-5-4 in the Peach Blossom, your Wednesday race of the day. Best of luck.